After multiple diplomatic meetings trying to de-escalate tensions over Ukraine, French President Emmanuel Macron briefed his US counterpart Joe Biden about his meetings with leaders of Russia and Ukraine. A statement said that the two leaders talked about the ongoing diplomatic deterrence efforts in response to Russia's military build-up at Ukraine's borders. Macron had met both Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky this week in a bid to find a diplomatic path out of the crisis. While both France and Russia made cautiously optimistic statements since then, Moscow has sent mixed signals, since it continues its huge military build-up of forces. The Pentagon has said that Russia has now deployed over 100,000 troops along the border and it keeps adding to its options and capabilities. The Pentagon's comments come as US troops established a military base in southeastern Poland.
And without getting into specific numbers, I mean, he's well north of 100,000, and it continues to grow. But what's important is not just the numbers; it's the capabilities. And what we see is that he is really putting in place robust, what we would call combined arms capabilities.
Meanwhile, Britain has said that it was ready to deploy 1,000 more troops to deal with any humanitarian crisis linked to Ukraine. This statement comes as Prime Minister Boris Johnson headed to NATO and Poland. British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss will also meet her counterpart Sergei Lavrov in Moscow today.
Gewährleisten können, das ist die Aufgabe und das, glaube ich, wird auch gelingen und man sieht richtig, dass da was passiert. Aber es ist noch viel zu früh zu sagen, die Probleme sind gelöst, sie sind so ernst und sie werden es noch eine Zeit lang bleiben, dass sie alle unsere Aufmerksamkeit verdienen.
And for more on this, WION correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report. Listen in.
Chief Pentagon spokesman John Kirby on Wednesday said that U.S. troops could be used to help evacuate American citizens from Ukraine should Russia decide to invade the country. John Kirby said, quote, the 82nd Airborne troops will be establishing themselves to be able to respond to a number of contingencies and to conduct whatever mission they are called upon to do. One of them could very well be preparing for some sort of evacuation assistance on the Polish side of that Ukrainian border. Kirby did not mention in detail what those assistances would be. However, the Wall Street Journal did report citing an unnamed American source as saying that American troops were setting up checkpoints, tent camps, and other facilities at the Polish border to help American citizens and receive them fleeing Ukraine. Now, Kirby's comments on Wednesday come in stark contrast to comments made earlier last month by the Defense Department saying that the American military was not going to help with the evacuation of American citizens from Ukraine should Russia decide to invade. Meanwhile, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki also on Wednesday said what we're encouraging American citizens to do is depart Ukraine now. All of this is happening with a backdrop of diplomacy and diplomatic efforts continuing between the West and Russia, and as Russia continues to insist that it does not plan on invading Ukraine. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.